I'm going to give you all the details. Also, Barcelona considering a permanent move for a loaned center forward. And finally, Matteo Alemany is a huge admirer of Ferran Torres. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Is it on now? It glitched a little bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and I'm still away from home. I'm still in the city of London. Tomorrow I'm flying to Scotland, and on Monday I'll be back home. So since I cannot film, edit, and post because I'm not at home, this is why I'm bringing you this short live just to give you all the Barca news. I did go live a few moments ago. If you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to check it out. Lots of interesting news in it. Speaking of news, now let's dive right into the news because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are starting to plan the preseason for the 2026 summer, and it's going to look different than previous preseasons. Now, of course, last preseason we went to Korea and Japan. The two ones before that we went to the USA, and well, now Barcelona do not plan to do a preseason tour per Hansi Flick's request. Hansi Flick does not want the team to go somewhere else, the USA, Japan, Korea, wherever, to do a tour. Instead, Barcelona are planning for kind of a training stage in some quiet European city where the team would travel there, they would train there, people would be able to see them. And then, of course, they would play some friendly matches, but no touring to different cities and different countries, because of course that's very exhausting. But more importantly, it is World Cup summer, right? The players, as soon as this season's over, once they're done playing 4 competitions, they're only gonna have 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, and then right away, and when I say off, I mean no matches, but they're not really off, because as soon as the season's over, they're gonna join their national squads and they're gonna start training, so it's not really off. And then immediately the World Cup will begin, and after the World Cup is over, they'll have 1 or 2 weeks truly off, no training and nothing, and then the preseason will begin right away. So Hansi Flick believes that, that's going to be too much to travel to a whole nother continent and do tours between cities and traveling and blah, blah, blah. So instead, he wants to do kind of like a quiet training stage, most likely in Germany. That's where Flick wants to have it, and then have the team play some friendly matches as well. Now, Barcelona are looking to abide by this request because, first of all, it's a sensible request, but also they want to please Hansi Flick because let's not forget, after last preseason tour, Hansi Flick was extremely, extremely mad because remember, the team was supposed to fly to Japan, and then literally on the day of the flight gets canceled, the tour gets canceled because one of the promoters did not pay, and then the flight was back on, and then it got canceled again, and then it was back on again, and then it got canceled again, and then finally the team flew the next day. I mean, total mess. Which just goes to show the improvisation of this board of directors, something that Hansi Flick was extremely pissed about, because of course that interferes with planning, because these players' lives is planned down to the minute. What time they go to sleep, what time they wake up, what time do they eat, what time do they drink, what time do they nap, what time do they exercise. All it's planned down. And when you're like, oh, flight, no flight, flight, no flight, no flight, it messes up the entire planning of the squad. Now, speaking of Hansi Flick, we do have to talk about the contract renewal of the German coach, who of course extended recently until 2027, but Barcelona want to extend his contract until 2028. In fact, Joan Laporta talked about how the contract renewal was underway. Hansi Flick was asked a couple of times, and he said, I want to talk to my family first. So even though Laporta was, or there were sources storing that the renewal had been agreed to, Flick was like, no, I got to talk to my family. And well, now the new news is that Pini Zahavi, the agent of Hansi Flick, who's also the agent of Robert Lewandowski, will be flying to the city of Barcelona after the Champions League match against Atletico Madrid, which is on April 8th, in order to discuss the terms of the contract renewal of Hansi Flick. So, ladies and gentlemen, pretty soon the contract renewal negotiations will be underway, where hopefully Flick will agree to stay at the club at least another year. Of course, he's not looking to stay too long. He has already said Barcelona will be the final club he will work at. He's going to retire after leaving Barca, and he doesn't want to stay at Barca for too long because, he's 61. He wants to spend time with his family, with his grandkids. So, but of course, we'll take him for as long as he'll stay. So please, Flick, stay as long as possible. we really, really want you to. Now, on to that next bit of news, because Barcelona are now considering the permanent signing of a loaned center forward who's no other than Joaquin Delgado. Now, Joaquin Delgado is an Oviedo player, an Oviedo B, the reserve team of Oviedo, scoring lots of goals. And of course, Barcelona signed him on loan during this winter transfer market in order to help out with the injuries, because Barca Athletic have been suffering a lot of injuries up front. And literally as soon as he signed, I think it was the next day or 2 days later, he started for Barca Athletic, scored a goal on his debut. And since then, he has went on to score 5, I think, or 6 goals and provided 1 assist. And as such, Barcelona are looking to sign Joaquin Delgado, the 24-year-old center forward, on a permanent basis. Now, Joaquin Delgado does have an option to buy in his contract worth 4 million euros, but Barcelona will look to negotiate that fee down, because they believe, 4 million is a little bit too expensive for Barca Athletic. We'll see whether Oviedo agree. It's going to be difficult, because given this guy's numbers, 4 million euros, well, it's a pretty sensible figure. But of course, we'll see what happens, and I will be here to tell you all about it. Now, speaking of attackers, we do have to talk about the shark turned sardine. Well, he was the sardine, turned shark, turned sardine again. But Ferran Torres, because, ladies and gentlemen, reports out of Madrid stating that Matteo Alemany is a huge admirer of Ferran Torres. He likes what he sees and thinks will be a good fit at Atletico de Madrid. Now, remember, it was Matteo Alemany who brought Ferran Torres from Manchester City to Barcelona back when Alemany was the sporting director of Barcelona. And now Alemany is the sporting director at Atletico de Madrid. And, well, he's a huge admirer of Ferran Torres. And this, of course, could open some doors for Barca, because, as I told you recently, Barcelona have paused the contract renewal of Ferran. Ferran's contract expires in 2027. There were plans to extend his contract, but since Ferran's numbers have been disappointing, where he hasn't scored in the last 12 matches, Barcelona have now paused those contract renewals, and now they're open to hearing offers for Ferran Torres. And if Alemany is a huge admirer, that could be a good destination for Ferran, especially since Barcelona are looking to sign Julian Alvarez. So who's to say that Ferran maybe cannot be included in that deal, where we can swap Ferran for Julian, obviously plus some cash, because Ferran is not worth the same thing as Julian. But of course, that will all depend on the player himself, because so far there's been several attempts to offload Ferran Torres before the arrival of Flick, and he always said no, 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 no. So it's going to be very difficult to see whether Ferran is going to want to leave during this summer transfer market. Now, let's end today's video with some statements that were made by Rooney Bardghji, who have caused a lot of controversy on social media and on media outlets, because Rooney Bardghji, during an interview, said the following about his lack of minutes. The truth is that so far I haven't had much playing time. I'm patient, but honestly, I think I deserve to play more. Whoa, I accidentally copy-pasted the same phrase twice. But he said that, he's been patient, but he feels like he deserves to play more. And this, of course, has caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people say, whoa, Rooney Bardghji is looking to leave. Oh, Barca's going to be upset, blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't see anything wrong with this. It's not like Rooney Bardghji saying, I'm not getting minutes, I'm going to go somewhere else. He's saying, look, I'm not getting that many minutes. I'm not happy about it. I think I deserve to play more. Which, by the way, he followed those statements with statements talking about how happy he is at Barca, how it's a dream for him come true to play at Barca, how happy he is with his teammates, how happy he is with Flick. Of course, they excluded all those statements about how happy Bardghji is, and instead they only focus about him saying that he deserves to play more. And now they're taking it out of context, making it seem like Bardghji is unhappy, he wants to leave, he wants to go somewhere else. That's not the case. He's simply saying, hey, I deserve to play more. And of course, every player thinks that. If you don't think that, that's actually a problem, right? So I don't think it's anything out of the norm that Bardghji said this. I think this is being taken out of proportion. The only thing I would tell Rooney Bardghji is, if you say you are patient, I think the key here to succeed at Barca, well, it will be more patience, because after all, you're in control of your own destiny, right? Keep working hard, keep training hard, and eventually the opportunity will come. So it's all in your hands, Mr. Rooney. Keep working, because I believe that Rooney has a lot to offer to Barca. I think he's an incredible signing. I think he has a lot of potential that I'm sure we'll eventually get to see if he remains patient and stays at the club, because we've seen what happens when players are not patient, go somewhere else thinking the grass is greener. It turns out it's not. Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. I did go live a few moments ago. If you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, be scarce.